Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we're visiting Seaworld San Antonio and I'm bringing you 17 different tips I have for your future visit. I spent a lot of time here over the summer as a season pass holder and I can't wait to share with you all the tips and tricks I have. My first tip for visiting is to wear sneakers. SeaWorld San Antonio has a ton of walking. It's also split into 3 different sections. There's SeaWorld, Aquatica, and Discovery Point. Aquatica and SeaWorld have different ticket passes to get into them. You will do a ton of walking getting from point to point within SeaWorld, so you'll be grateful to have comfortable shoes as you walk around and explore. After entering the main gate, which will bring you to all parks, you should look for these kiosks. It's where you can print special tickets that may be included with your pass. If you want to view the dolphins or sharks, you're actually going to have to go see them outside of the main gate for SeaWorld. So when you enter the park, you want to head to the left of the park, which is where you will find Discovery Point. There you can view dolphins underwater and you can see them above the water. You can also go into the Coral Reef building, which features different sharks and many colorful tropical fish. We loved watching the dolphins early in the morning, or if you go around 10 o'clock-ish, there's usually tours starting and you can see the dolphins interacting more because people will be there with trainers to do lessons and you can watch some of those interactions with the way it's set up. You actually don't have to scan a ticket to get into Discovery Point because you just have to go through the main gate, so you go through security, but your tickets aren't actually scanned until you go into either SeaWorld or Aquatica, so there's no separate ticket to go into the Discovery Point section. This is a bonus Discovery Point tip. Even if you're not going to do an animal experience for the day, still check out the times that those animal experiences are happening, especially the dolphin ones, but the shark ones too, because you may see some of those interactions happening as you're viewing the animals. So my fourth tip is to know the show times, and I like to take a screenshot on my phone of the show times from either the website or the SeaWorld app. They do have an app, but sometimes the app is a little bit spotty in the park with Wi-Fi, so by taking that photo, I don't have to wait for it to load and I can just look in my photos and see the times quickly. I like to have a plan to be able to catch all of the shows because they only happen a couple of times each day. Sometimes the shows are only featured once in a day, or some will have 2 to 3 shows throughout the day, depending on when you visit. So you want to be aware of those so you can make sure you can get into everything you want to see. SeaWorld San Antonio has a couple of shows going on for animals. They have the Pacific White-Sided Dolphin show with the beluga whales. That's actually the show you're watching on the screen right now. They also have a sea lion show and a orca show. Both the SeaWorld show and the orca show are similar to the one in Orlando if you've been to SeaWorld Orlando. The dolphin show and beluga whale show is unique to SeaWorld San Antonio. SeaWorld Orlando has bottlenose dolphins in their show, so that was kind of a unique twist to San Antonio. They also have some Sesame Street shows, so they have the Sesame Street play and they have a Sesame Street parade that happens once a day most nights. At least in summer it was happening nightly. My fifth tip is to arrive at the show early, especially on busy days, so that you can get the seating you want. Most shows do have splash zone seating, and those will get you really close to the animals, but you will get wet if you choose to sit in that section. There's also plenty of spots to see the animals well without getting soaked. I also recommend being flexible with the show times. Some shows just won't happen. When we were there, this baby beluga was born, so the beluga whale show was not happening as planned. I did finally get to see the show, but without the beluga whales towards the end of summer. Also, another reason to arrive early is to catch the before show entertainment. especially the before show entertainment at Sea Lion High at the Sea Lion show. They've changed that show recently to something else, but they entertain the crowd, and it's pretty funny entertainment before it starts. The Orca show has a little bit of entertainment, mostly on screens, and I didn't see much before show entertainment at the Dolphins, but getting there a little bit early, especially to the Sea Lion and the Orca show, will allow you to take in a little extra entertainment while you wait for the show to start and get the best seats possible. My sixth tip for you is to bring a water bottle and ask for ice water when you go to the food establishments. They won't charge you for this, and you can keep refilling your water bottle instead of paying a lot of money for water. If you are visiting Seaworld San Antonio in summer, expect it to be super hot. It's like over 90 degrees every day, and it can be especially hot walking around on the pavement. So even if you're not into Sesame Street, I still suggest going to watch the Sesame Show just to get a nice air-conditioned break if you are there on a hot day. So that would be my tip number 7 for you, is to go to the Sesame Show to get an AC break. It's one of the few shows indoors. Besides taking an AC break, I will say that the Sesame Show is a lot of fun if you have young children with you. My 4-year-old loved going to watch the Sesame Show. We watched it many times throughout the summer, to the point that I could probably sing all of the songs, but I won't put you through that right now. The songs do get stuck in your head quite easily, just fair warning. Another great spot to head if you need an AC break is to the Penguin exhibit. This is also an indoor building that has air conditioning, and they have penguins and puffins. It's not as cool as the exhibit in Orlando, in my own opinion, if you've been to both parks, but it is a great spot to see the animals. While you admire the penguins, I'll tell you my 8th tip. That's to visit on the weekdays if possible. The crowds are a lot less, and we barely waited for lines when it was a weekday compared to weekends. We have been on the topic of talking about San Antonio heat, and another great way to cool off is to take advantage of the splash park. Even though SeaWorld San Antonio isn't a water park, they do have this great kids splash area. That's a nice spot to cool off, but you will get very wet, and they do have changing rooms. So I would pack a swimsuit to change into for when you take a break. My next tip is to book an animal experience. We did one of the dolphin experiences, and it was so cool because it actually went to a section of the park that you can't usually see. I'm going to make a separate video about this animal experience, so subscribe so you can see that video when it comes out. So my next tip has to do with the Orca show. If you want to be close to the orcas but don't want to get totally soaked in the splash zone, you might want to sit right behind this platform. You will still get wet. It is still considered splash zone, but when I sat there, I noticed I didn't get as wet as the people a few rows back. So, and you get incredibly close, actually closer than you can at the Orlando park. Okay, so my next tip is to bring a poncho if you do want to sit in the splash zones. Also, there are 2 different water rides inside SeaWorld San Antonio that you might want that poncho for. All right, so we're on to tip 13, which is consider becoming a pass member. I will make a separate video about all the benefits of being a pass member because I really recommend it if it makes sense for you. I also recommend buying a dining plan if you're going to be there for more than 2 meals. But this really, you want to plan this out. And it really depends on how much you're going to eat during that day as to whether or not that's worth the price and what you want to eat. We usually bought it if we would be there all day, but we didn't buy it every time we went. All right, my next tip has to do with the roller coaster Quick Queue. They offer Quick Queue for cutting lines. This can be really helpful on a busy day, like on the weekends, but I would wait and see how long the lines are before you buy this. A lot of times the waits were quite short, and even though as a pass member I got a Quick Queue every time, we often didn't even need it, even though ours was free and we could have used it. So it is helpful on a busy day, but I would wait and see what the lines are like and then buy it. They also offer reserved seating for shows that you can buy in advance. Again, most days you don't really need this, and the seating that they give you for reserved seating isn't always the seating you might want to sit in. The kiddie area has a lot of fun kids-themed rides. The lines in this area are lightest first thing in the morning and during the Sesame Street parade. You can usually get on rides without having to wait very long. The last tip I wanted to mention is to check out the playground area. They have this right in the middle of the park. It's a great spot to just take a break and have some free play. It's also a nice shaded area. Well, I hope you enjoy your trip to SeaWorld San Antonio, and please like and subscribe to our channel for more travel videos. I will be making a separate video about Aquatica and telling you a little more about that park as well. I hope you come back to the channel soon.